Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another Train Sim World preview, or Train Sim World 2 preview, I should say. I'm JD, joined by Jasper from Rivet Games. Hi, Jasper.
I'm sorry. Good evening.
Bodes well for the rest of the stream, doesn't it? And Matt, hello.
Hello, how's it going?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. I'm a little bit concerned that the frame rate on the stream goes right down the minute I click away from it.
Well, hopefully we can put the frame rate on the screen at the time so that people can see what's going on. But yes, welcome everybody to this preview of the RhB anniversary livery pack. So this is something that is a little bit different, actually. We are obviously, our friends at Rivet Games have put this together. We released an article about this. I think it was either earlier this week or late last week, around what you can expect from it. So take a look at that if you want a little bit of top line information. But we're going to be doing a little bit of a preview today for you of what you can expect. All the new liveries, which are very exciting. They are to celebrate the 125th anniversary of the RhB and also the 100th anniversary of the Arosalinie, which is very exciting, very celebratory. There are some little festive treats that we're going to show you as well as we get through. So should we get going?
I'm just looking at some of the feedback on there, and so I think I fixed the frame rate problem. It was the game taking up all much of my CPU. But they're saying that you're echoing. Okay, is anybody else hearing any kind of echo or audio distortion going on? If you can just confirm for me how the audio is. Yep. JD audio is fine, says Elon Blaze. Yep. Audio is fine. Okay, cool. In that case, all good. Right.
We'll get rid of our face cams as well.
Oh yeah, I'll do that now.
As per tradition.
Boom, boom. I'll just leave me here. Hello, everybody.
Just while we get set up, in case you missed the news earlier, we're on a real-life train. That's exciting, isn't it? So the Amtrak 50th anniversary livery, we've wrapped a train, which is very exciting. If you haven't already checked out the news post on the website or the article on the website, it gives you all the information because the livery is also coming to Train Sim World 2 as well in the future. So that's very exciting. It will be all free for you if you have Boston Sprinter. So hopefully we can get that in before Christmas as a nice little Christmas present, but if not, it will be hopefully soon after.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really enjoying seeing the photos. If you happen to be out and about and you take a photo of it, send it. We want to see it. Share. But yeah, it's really fun seeing what we've seen so far. And yeah, we'll get it in the game. We've kind of done the livery. It's just trying to get it actually in the game and everything. So not long soon, folks.
Absolutely. And Jasper, this is a Rivet route. What are we going to be seeing today? What are we going to be showcasing over the course of the stream for everybody watching?
Yeah, so obviously we're looking at the anniversary livery collection, like you already introduced. And we're looking at 5 new liveries, all to celebrate an anniversary on the RhB or RhB network. And we're looking what new gameplay there is and some of the festive theming that's on the route. Yeah. Oh, and the open coach, of course. Your chance to freeze your butt off while watching a beautiful landscape pass by.
And listening to some jingle bells as well.
Yeah, true, exactly. Yeah. Wrap up one. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So we'll be doing a launch. We'll be doing a launch stream when this launches next Thursday, because I don't think we mentioned that actually so far. It launches on December the 16th. So yeah, this is a preview. We'll be trying to show as much as we can, but there are quite a few. The scenarios we found are quite long. So unless what we'll do is we'll probably split them up. We'll do one tonight, and we might do another one next week with a few kind of festive surprises along the way. So we'll point them out as we go through. Also, we found just before we went live that we have a newer build of this particular route. So there will be points where we say, oh, actually, that's changed in the actual final build. So just keep an eye out for those, and we will of course show them on the launch stream next week.
Yep. That sounds good.
So let's have a quick look then. Just flick through the scenarios, which you can see. So this is "'Tis the Season," Christmas Delivery, Waterlogged.
Actually, these are the two Christmas themed scenarios.
Sorry.
The Christmas delivery and sister season are the two Christmas themed scenarios.
And then you've got waterlogged, open air travel, and alpine photo shoot. I think are the three new ones, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, these are 5 new scenarios that come with the pack.
So let's go in. Do you want to talk about timetable, Jasper?
Yeah, sure. So there's like an outstanding issue on the Erosa timetable for quite some while, so that's finally going to be fixed before
Yay!
that pack launches. Finally, yeah. And so everyone will get the updated timetable, and if you decide to buy the Anniversary Collection pack, you'll get a new timetable, which is based on the old one and has 10 additional services. Yeah, that's something to show off next week if we got a little more time on the timetable.
Yeah, absolutely. And just again, before we get cracking with the actual showcasing this, I think it's important to note that Arosa, it's had a mixed reception, I think, from a lot of players, and I think we understand some of the reasons why that is. Obviously, timetabling has been a big thing within the community, and I'm really glad that has been that will be fixed in the update coming up. Is there anything else route-wise or loco-wise that you guys are improving for the launch of this next week?
Yeah, so there are a couple of changes to the route itself, which namely are that the timetable fixed. The sound of the coaches has been improved. We're looking into if we can do something on that one furthermore, but that's not yet an announcement. The wiper sound has been reworked, and we have a physics update to the GE442, which improves the leaping bug when leaving a station. And we improved the gangways on the coaches, just from the experience that we had on the Class 150, because we found a better way to set them up, and we brought that one back to the Arosa. So these are the base updates that will be free for everyone who already owns the Arosa line. That was just important for us to point that out, that you'll be getting those updates for free.
Yep. Just on because I know the acceleration lurching was something that a few people have mentioned before. I know you said that the acceleration lurching, that's something that you've been looking at for this update. Will that be, I suppose, inverted commas, completely fixed, or is that something which is likely to have improved or been tweaked, but you might still see a little bit of juddering?
It has been drastically improved, but there's still a little bit of left over there. You won't have slipping wheels anymore. It's like a lot smoother than it was before, and you can't get like the train to accelerate from 0 to 20 kilometers an hour in the split of a second. But it's has been drastically improved from what it was before. So.
Great. And in terms of scenery, at the moment, I think that we've spoken about this before on several other streams. The scenery is a bit of is kind of the trade-off that we've played with in terms of the performance of the route and the physics of the loco, trying to make everything tie together. The scenery, particularly the distance scenery, was the thing that ended up being the thing that was, I suppose, compensated for on that front. So in terms of the scenery, the distance scenery, you won't see any changes.
No, that's a good thing to point out. There won't be any changes to the distance scenery.
Cool. We won't be giving you a price tonight either. We have we did message quickly before the stream started. We might still get the go ahead for it, but we need to get the go ahead to be able to give the price at this stage. So if we do get that, brilliant, I will let you know. If not, then assume that you'll find out a little bit later on.
Yeah.
Shall we jump into some of the locos then?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to pick a service during the day so that we can see them. I'll pick it during sort of noon time. Arosa will do, and we'll just look at walk around each of the trains and take a look at it, and then we'll play a scenario after that, I think.
Yeah.
So if I do it with the gates camera, we can fly around.
That's actually one of
Game noise is probably a little on the loud side. Hang on a second.
Oh, okay.
People asking about price. We do know the price. It's just if it's something that we can speak publicly about at this stage. Generally, we don't give prices during preview streams, so I'm not quite sure where people have got that idea from. We don't normally talk about pricing, so this isn't any different in that instance. You'll find out soon enough. Don't worry.
So, do you want to talk us through the liveries, Jasper?
Sure. Yeah. So that's 100 years Benino livery. Actually, my favorite. Just think it looks brilliant.
My favourite bit of the route, the viaduct.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it Bruzio? I think it's Bruzio.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have all these separate parts that we got from the original. I don't know what it's called. Sheet of where they designed these liveries, and we sliced them into several pieces. And applied them onto this locomotive. Yeah, so that's what you can see right now in the game.
Is there any differences in the cab on this one, or are these just external?
These are just external. If you want to have it that way, there's been the change to the side window on the engine room. If you stand up and walk to the engine room, you can see that there's the window is covered and it's dark in the engine room now. Yeah, and if you open the door, you can actually see it a bit better. It's darker in there than it was before.
I quite like that. It was quite ominous, quite obviously realistic, but quite ominous.
Yeah.
It's neat.
So
Okay.
that's been the major change. We've done actually some changes to the locomotive itself, so we could apply these textures because they start at the front. And then go all the way on. They start on the side, but we have to make some cuts there, and we work some of the livery, the textures to make that happen. But nothing drastically in terms of how the locomotive works and that kind of stuff.
Right. Which one is this?
This one is the Bever Skull. Okay, I've got it wrong 100%. That's one of the other liveries for the 100-year anniversary. It has this iconic castle which is close to Bever Skull, I believe. Or Skull Terrace? Skull Terrace it is.
If you say so.
Yeah. It is close to that one.
Do you know what they remind me of a little bit? They remind me of Euro notes a little bit.
Yeah, true. From the general style of how they did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. That's true. Yeah.
Sorry about the black box in the bottom left corner, folks. My XSplit is having a day, but hopefully it doesn't. I'll try and make sure that the liveries are clear of the black box.
And people asking about ballpark pricing. Don't worry, it's not going to be priced in like a route is priced. Don't worry, it's not. It's not. We're not allowed to give an exact number at the moment, but it's not a route pricing.
No.
Right. No, that's the red one. Do that one. So we're on the that one
The
now.
100. Yes. Yeah.
Arosalinie.
Well, obviously we have removed the on the liveries we have removed the little crest that was up on the side, and the locomotive numbering has moved as well. Some of the information that were up in the top of the livery are now down at the bottom. Yeah, so that was the most complex one because all these little 125 you can see there are separate pieces. So that was quite a thing.
Will this locomotive in this livery always be number 623?
I think yes, it should be. Just something that you can see. You can see the same liveries on track if you decide to choose the 125, for example, and you're choosing a train that has the locomotive right in front of it, so you can see these double in game, but it should be the 623 all the times.
I think these look brilliant, actually.
So much detail on there, isn't there?
Yeah, I really like them. I love blue as a colour as a whole, but I think that's a really lovely shade of blue, actually.
They've made some great stuff with it. Yeah. But thanks for that, by the way, James. Really appreciate it. No, it's great to see what the team put together.
This one now, I think.
Yeah, we haven't seen that one.
I'll play with the time of day when we get in and see if we can't find something a little bit nicer.
People are asking why Jamie's not been included as a livery. Well, actually, Jamie will be on the stream next week, so you can ask him directly why he's not a livery on this.
Yeah, so that's the Crow Rosa one, the famous Langweise viaduct in it, which we'll see later on as well. Just another shade of blue there, a bit darker one though. Really like the fact that you can go so up close on them and still a sharp image. It's just, yeah, really love that.
What was, I mean, again, Jasper, you might be not necessarily be the right person to ask for this, but in terms of the actual putting that kind of design together, what was the process that you went through to get that design together? Because it looks, again, quite intricate. It looks like there's a lot of layering going on. There's a lot of features within it. Do you happen to get any insight from the art team on how that was put together?
Yeah, so as you may know, these liveries are the RhB created them for their real-world locomotives, and so Alan Thompson did a great job of. Don't ask me how he did it, but he managed to get the original files from these liveries. That's basically one massive Illustrator file. I've had a look at it. It's really well made. And we then took the separate pieces out of that Illustrator file, and then added the red locomotive into Substance Painter, and then slowly stacked all these layers up. So we started with the base green on this one, for example, and then added the several pieces like the train and the fonts and the what Matt is looking at right now, these pieces in back again. So that was basically the process of designing these liveries. So we can't claim 100% credit for creating these, but we had to make some changes and tweaks to it to bring them into the game and match the real world locomotive. Yeah.
I think that's it.
These were all 5, yeah.
Lovely.
Let's
Should we
go
get into a scenario?
Find us a scenario.
Awesome.
Explore scenarios. Which one were we going to do?
It is the season.
Tis the season.
Tis the season.
So see the open coach in there as well, the observation coach.
Oh yes, definitely worth pointing that out.
Yeah, and it's actually the Christmas themed version, but we'll get to that in just a second.
Festive fun. Yeah, it is important to know, obviously it is December the 9th. This comes out on December the 16th. There's some lovely little Christmassy touches on this, as you can probably already see, the little lights.
Yes.
It is a really festive, kind of warm, fuzzy feeling kind of pack. It makes me happy doing this kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. You have these special decorations on the station, and they're just there in the scenarios. But we have added some little tweaks to the timetable as well. I'm sure you'll spot them throughout the stream. Yeah, just some small details which make it feel a bit more like winter.
And someone's asking, Red Rev has asked, are these Christmas lights prototypical or are they artistic license?
Yes. I don't know, to be honest. I think they're a bit artistical. What is not artistical is the lightning on the Langweise viaduct. But we'll get to that later on.
Yeah, and Liam's asked in the chat: is the loco random in the scenario, or is it specific loco, or is it specific livery?
There's a specific livery in the scenarios. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the Arosalinie one, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You'll have in each scenario you will drive a different livery, just so you have, got your hands on all of these.
They're five scenarios, so one for each livery.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. I was saying, I think one of my first streams that I did for TSW2 was an Arosa stream with you, Jasper, I think.
Oh, really?
And Jamie. So we've done a fair few together now, I think, which is it's quite cool. I like doing the Rivet streams with you.
Well, thanks a lot. Yeah, really enjoy these streams with you and Matt together. It's just like it works. Somehow harmonic. Yeah.
I'm taking it cautiously because I did a quick run of this previously before the stream just to make sure it worked, and I didn't do very well.
I mean, this might be
I may have destroyed the coaches, but
this might be a tale of things to come for tomorrow's 4-up challenge with my entry for tomorrow. So fans of Captain Slow might enjoy tomorrow's 4-up challenge.
Better be on the safe side.
There's being safe, and then there's being unsafe because you're going so slowly.
No. As you're faster than walking. Guess you're good.
Well, hopefully it means I didn't lose any points for going over speed limit anyway.
Oh, the hard pad joke is still coming up, huh? That's one.
So in terms, Jasper, of the actual scenarios themselves, is there anything? I think we'll do the other Christmassy scenario next week. So we won't say too much about that one. But is there any other kind of unique parts of any of these? I know obviously we're doing one of them right now. Is there any kind of unique things that are worth talking about with regards to scenarios?
Yes, there is. So we have, like you mentioned, this one, which has these extra decorations. I won't say anything about the one that we're doing next week, just because that's something special.
Hard hat time.
Oh yeah. And we have in the other ones, there isn't anything too special. These are someone hasn't tightened the handbrake on these wagons. There we go.
Am I close enough? Oh, I'm close enough now.
Yeah, that works. No, so the two special ones are the two Christmas themed ones. The other two ones are in exclamation mark just regular scenarios, where you drive a train up or down the hill with the observation coach, and there's a fright scenario as well, I believe. Should be. Yeah, but not as crazy things as there are on this one.
Cool. Yeah, let's go to the observation cab, shall we?
Yeah. So that's the one, and as you can see, it's the Christmas themed version, which has all these little lights to it. And as you can see, you can turn them on, which
That's cool.
to make
Oh,
them
that's so cool.
light up static. It's brilliant. Yeah, I love it. And you can even set them to twinkle. And if you hear the game sound, you should be able to hear some Christmas music that's playing right now.
I mean, I can't hear it, so I have no idea what it's. All I know, we had a little bit. Of
It's
preview
everything you could wish for.
Yeah, it's just a nice touch.
I mean, I think observation coaches feel like they're a good idea at the time, and then you sit down and you go on the route, and you're like, it is absolutely freezing cold right now, and
Yeah.
I wish it's lovely being in this nice light, shiny, flickering, Christmassy light wonderland, but flipping heck is it cold.
Yeah. Can you believe that they do actually run these in the winter? I don't know how many people are in there in the winter, but okay.
A couple of people mentioned that's a 2-second loop. I think it does go into something else.
No,
Jasper,
it's a really short loop.
Is it a really short loop? Okay.
Yeah.
So you might not want to spend too long in that carriage because you might then want to kill somebody because. But yeah, grab your glove line, grab your. I'm not going to say lederhosen. That's very stereotypical. Grab your glove line and enjoy a little bit of scenery in the Alps. I mean, would you be able to, as a passenger, be in the observation cab?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, in service mode.
It's just a regular coach. You can use it however you like. Yeah, just sit down in there. And there's actually on the original you can move the what's that called in English? The part where you lean against from the seat. Hang on a second. Like the back of the seat. You can move it in real world to be able to sit just in direction of travel.
Oh, so you can swing the arm, the rear of the seat backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
Does that work in the game as well?
That was something I want to talk about. No, it isn't. Just because that has something to do with the way that Unreal Engine set up the passengers, so you can't have them sit back and forth on the player.
Yeah, so our seating system effectively requires the seat to be in the same direction.
Yeah, exactly.
So you'd find your legs put through the right housing.
Yeah, could look a little bit weird. Yeah.
Some more lights occur.
Exactly. Yeah.
Question from Matthew in the chat: does this scenario have dynamic weather?
Not dynamic weather. No, it's just the amount of snow in the beginning is set very low, and you can then just see the snow builds up as it starts to snow. But it's not really dynamic in that way. I guess that's something that Matt could explain even better, because he's more into the depth of the system.
Well, essentially, you can. So we have snow can grow and can lay. So you can set the snow level. The snow slider in service mode. Effectively, imagine that's been set relatively low, and then as the snow falls, you'll see the snow slider going up. Essentially, as the world fills with snow. Dynamic weather would then have it snowing or not snowing, and so forth, which is what's not in here.
Yeah.
Cool. A couple of questions about timetables. The lights on the platforms and whatnot, I assume that's just for these two scenarios rather than... Yeah, okay. And in terms of the observation coach, is that then available to use on the... is that, first of all, available to use on the timetables that are coming with this edition, the additional...
Yes.
Yeah, the additional ones, but also is it available on the original timetables? But actually, that's you wouldn't get the observation coach if you hadn't already got. Yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah, exactly. You have to buy the pack to get the observation coach. So you will see the observation coach in the timetable, and just before you start screaming that it's wrong, there are actually two cars in the timetable. Although we are aware that there's only one of these existing in real world. But we wanted to have the Christmas themed version in there and the normal version, so you can spot both of those in the timetable. Just to be upfront with that, because I know that will come up. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
My team's just having some psychedelic fun with some of these. So bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to unpin and then repin my teams. There we go. I can actually see things now, other than it being just a psychedelic mess.
Yay teams!
Yay teams! Christmas deliveries on the route is a fun touch. Well, we'll maybe come into that in a little bit more detail next week.
Yeah.
Train Squad's asked,
These.
Does this include the improved? Does this build include the improved sound? So essentially, are the sounds that we're listening to tonight likely to be the ones that are with
Yes.
the update on Tuesday? Or no, sorry, not Tuesday. It's not. It might not be Tuesday. It's going to be next week at some point.
Yeah, but these are the sounds that will be in the update. They have been turned down a little bit in terms of volume. We have someone looking at recreating new sounds, but yeah, might be something that just will never come out. Just don't make any hopes up. It's just if it's going to be an update that we release, we'll announce that separately.
Yeah, the wiper sounds are improved,
Yeah.
and a few other sort of tweaks here and there as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Someone's asked about new physics as well. I think we touched on this at the start. There were likely to be some improvements to some of the acceleration issues that some players were experiencing. So again, hopefully you can see that as we're going through.
Yeah. And some of the players had some issues with reapplying power while driving. That's now gone as well.
Yeah. So that should be launching with the patch update, which won't come at that same. Well, isn't planned to come at the same time as the add-on goes live on the 16th. So you should hopefully be able to try that out before the pack goes live.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, did we see a snowman? Did I miss the snowman?
Yeah. You missed.
Oh no.
It's actually behind you. Well, there are some more as well.
Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's one of the decorations which are in the timetable as well. So these are not just for the scenario.
A couple of people have asked, will the AI passengers use the observation car?
Yes, they will. Might be something due to the older build. I've seen them using this car though. Yep.
So they'll be freezing their extremities off in the back in the new variety of clothing that comes with the Rush Hour Core update earlier this year.
Oh yeah, they definitely will.
Oh, did I miss it? I should really watch more. I think we missed a Christmas tree as well.
Yep, it was on the left side. But maybe that's something for the players to go find themselves. Okay, well we are going to show it.
Oh, there we go.
There it is. Just a nice touch here and there.
I'm feeling very Christmassy.
Aww.
Triple J's asked how the Christmas lights on this route as well as the snowmen work. They are only on these scenarios. So there are 2 Christmassy themed scenarios which will have these features or different Christmassy features within them. The other 3 will not, and they won't go through to the timetable mode.
Actually, yeah, half through. The lights won't be there. The colored lights on the station, they won't be there in the timetable. The little details like the snowman and the Christmas tree are there in the timetable.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Sorry. Feel free to cut me off when I get something wrong like that.
No worries.
People are saying I'm running lots of red lights. Where are you seeing red lights? I'm not seeing any red lights.
Me neither.
You want to see the jingle bell sound?
Let's just keep that on for the rest of the stream. See how long we can take you. How long we kind of hemorrhage viewers for.
That's going to be a tough one then. No, the snowman and Christmas trees aren't collectibles. Just because that came up.
I need to keep my eye out for other Christmassy themed goodies.
These are the only 2. There's like the lights on the Langweiser viaduct as well, which are there in the update, and so like in the new livery collection pack, and will be come to the base timetable update as well. So you will be able to see them if you set the snow to be on.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, also, what might be a good idea is just so people get an idea of what it looks like. I know the thumbnail shows the viaduct with all of the lights on, I believe.
Yep.
When we were scrolling through it beforehand, might be a good idea when we finish this map just to show the image there of the thumbnail, just to see what it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, just there's no passengers in the observation column. The plan is that there will be, which just might not be in this particular build. I think we said at the start that we realised that there was an updated build about 10 minutes before we went live, and Matt said it would probably take about 3 hours to switch branches. So we thought we wouldn't put you through that. We'll show you what we've got at the moment, and then hopefully next week when we've got the launch stream, you can see it all in its updated glory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be on a shipping build for the next stream, so rather than this dev build, which is always a little bit difficult.
Strike Eagles asked, do the Christmas decorations only appear in snowy December or in other snowy months as well? Do you just need to change the weather to snowy? And
Yeah, you have to set snow to just to turn on snow, and they will appear then.
Are you using the
James has
piled
asked-
snow setting for that? If so, that's really clever. We have a setting in the game internally which has never been used, which allows for berms of snow. Effectively, I don't want to call it piled snow because people will misunderstand. Ooh, snow on the tracks. Not for that, but for like piled snow on the side and things like that. It does occur to me that actually, if you were to make it so that Christmassy things appeared when piled snow was set to 1, then you could achieve that kind of thing actually, which is quite neat.
I believe that it uses that system. You may have seen it on the stations as well. There are some piles of snow on the station itself, on like where a roof ends or starts. So that's using that system as well, if I'm right. I mean, I'm not a developer, but I assume that's what it's using.
A few other questions while we're seeing some nice camera work from Matt there. Any console sales upcoming? I am not sure, if I'm being honest. I know that there are a few sales coming up on various different platforms. I couldn't tell you what would be on and what would not be on, because I assume by sales you mean add-ons sales, and I'm not quite sure what would be included in those, or if they are core sales, so the base game. But as soon as you keep checking, because the platforms love to do sales around this time of year, so we do have a few. We do, as always, try and get in as many as we possibly can do. Liam's asked, apologies for the quick Boston question, are we getting the livery with bug fixes? I believe the team is still working on all of the rush hour routes, Matt, but I don't believe that that particular livery is sort of wedded to a specific set of fixes.
No, the priority is to get the livery out, but I'm actually looking at because I need to modify the timetable to get the livery to come in. So I'm looking at what I can quickly get in without delaying anything at the moment. So I'll see what I can do, but I expect just the livery at the moment, and I'll see if I can do more.
We're getting into some slightly more technical Devi questions here, Jasper. Can we set it so that Ensor asks, can we get set it so the snow, so we set it in snow so it activates the decorations, then move the sliders to get them on clear weather or non-snowy weather?
I've never tried that. From my understanding, that shouldn't work. It should only work if you have the snow slider.
It's linked to the presence of snow, isn't it? Rather than being turned on or off, it is actually linked to the presence of snow, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it works as well if you just put the snow slider on a little bit, so you don't have to throw it in 100%. But I don't think that it keeps the snow setting if you decide to move the slider. If you decide to go to a month that isn't supporting snow, so don't think that should work.
Someone asked an interesting question earlier on. Apologies, I can't remember the name about can you have it where it's got no snow at the bottom of the grade and it's got snow at the top of the grade?
No.
If you're clever with how you set up your service mode selection, the game does simulate temperature versus at altitude, which means that if you set your time of day and all the rest of it in service mode, which is so that it's as close to neutral as possible, then what you'll find is that as you ascend the grade, maybe it's clear at the bottom and it's raining, but as you ascend, the rain will turn to snow and the snow will start laying on the ground, and you can achieve the same thing going downhill. I've not tried that, but that is how the system is built to support gradient changes affecting the temperature as well.
Okay, so you should be able, just for me, when I go back to Audacity, you should be able to set the temperature when the starting at the starting scenario.
So you can't set the temperature, but what you can do is choose a time of day and choose a month, and then that will tell you what temperature it's going to give you based on the national average curves. And then if you set that to be like -1 degree at Arosa, and then you descend the grade, then in theory it'll be +1, plus something by the time you get to Kure, and you'll have found that if you were snowing at the beginning, it'd be raining at some point. Yeah, because snow and rain depends on the temperature.
Yeah, that'd be quite cool. Yeah, I'll see what I'd think about that. I mean, won't be in the update when it goes live, but maybe that's something for the future. Yeah, I didn't knew that it was working that way. But,
yeah, it's how it was, because when the first route we did was Sandpatch Grade, which has a fairly, it's not this much of a climb even, but it's got a gradient in it, and we wanted to sort of represent the temperature difference as you went up the gradient. And I have done it once before, but this should be a lot easier because you have such an extreme gradient that you traverse.
Well, yeah, that's cool stuff.
A few people are talking about the whistle as well. A bit of explanation why there is no horn because of avalanches, so they use the whistle instead.
It's quite clever to think about things like that.
I dread to think the reason why they thought that.
I was going to say these on railways changes are normally happen as a result of improvement rather than forethought.
Let's not hope it was that case in this one as well. There might be just some clever Swiss people that thought about this long before.
So one of the things that I did want to talk about tonight was kind of the length. Obviously, we've talked about a few upgrades and improvements to the Arosa route as a whole, and obviously the pack launched. I think it was at the end of March, wasn't it, Arosa? And that's obviously a long time to kind of build out for these sort of series of improvements to come into game. Yeah. Is there a reason why it took so long to get some of this stuff in players' hands? Obviously, the core update should improve some of the things that we know a lot of players were talking about. Is there a reason why it took so long to get some of this stuff through the door?
Yeah, there are a couple of reasons. I mean, something that I would like to mention just beforehand. We aren't happy about the time that it took to finish this update and to deliver it to the people. It was just way too long, and we're aware of that. It was not like we would like to have it. It started with the AI overspeeding, which was due to a core bug, and that was then fixed. We then had the Unreal Engine update to 4.26, which then broke the timetable again. So we had to redo some fixes, and there was some back and forth between Rivet and Dovetail. I think we had a great conversation on the bugs and the problems that we were facing. Just because this route is quite extreme with having 6% of gradient, which we didn't have a route that challenged the system, the physics, with a 6% gradient, so it was something new that no one has ever looked at. So there were a couple of reasons that came to each other and added up, and that's basically why it took so long.
And I'll probably throw this one to Matt, really, because I know that this is something that, again, I don't think either us or Rivet were particularly happy about. But what are we doing sort of to try and alleviate some of those problems in the future? Because obviously we don't necessarily want it to be a case that there is a 8-month gap between some of this stuff being noticed and sort of coming into players' hands.
No, so I mean the third party team from Dovetail's side were kind of doing the best that they could with the tools that they had available, and so we were talking to them and trying to figure out what can we do to help third parties such as Rivet in the future. How can we improve things? And I think, as Adam's mentioned actually on the last roadmap stream, that one of the things we've done is we've brought third party into Adam's team. So he's now responsible for third party, and he's got his team, the preservation crew, who are now sort of on hand to help with third party developers, help answer their questions, looking into things on a really proactive basis. And that also then gives him, he's obviously got direct access to the team because of his position as senior producer, which puts him in a really good place to talk to engineering, for example, as I think there's something wrong here, and talk to engineering at a really high level. He'll have already gone through all the normal stuff with his team, and then by the time he can put it straight up to engineering and say that isn't working, which is going to make stuff, the flow go an awful lot quicker. So it's really about getting third-party developers more closely involved in with the development team, get answers to their questions, and try and help them to get the products that they're trying, the vision that they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I think I've certainly noticed over the course of the last 2 or 3 months, really, is I think we've worked a lot more closely with our third-party developers, and there's been a much better communication. I mean, as I say, this is me coming in from it relatively fresh, not necessarily knowing a lot of the kind of how we've done it in the past, but it's definitely improved, I would say, over the last sort of 2 to 3 months, and I think that there is a real kind of optimism about how we're going to be doing stuff moving forward, in terms of particularly aftercare on some of these some of the third-party routes. I think that's the thing that I feel quite passionately about, is we need to make sure that there is a shorter gap of time between something coming out. There's always going to be something. I mean, we can do the best that we can do, but in game development there is always going to be something that slips through the net. It's that time that we spend between that, noticing that as a thing, and then being able to act on it.
Liam, why did UE426 cause so many timetable issues? It wasn't strictly UE426. One of the problems with one of the challenges we've had is that as part of upgrading for TSW2, we did the upgrade to Unreal 426 and many core changes, that transpired that one of the problems, it's actually causing a lot of red light issues at the moment as well. In some other stuff, I think there's a couple of Cathcart scenarios, for example, that don't work, and it's all related to this same issue. And what we found is that it's a change that was added to stop AI trains spadding, so you'd have been driving along previously, and what would have happened is the AI train, or you'd have been driving and just randomly would have said signal faster danger and ended the game, and that wasn't you doing it, it was an AI train doing it. An AI train should never do that, and it transpired that it was a one frame error that sometimes meant that an AI train would skip one frame past a red light for various reasons. So a fix was put in to make the aero trains just, well, don't stop on the millimetre where the red light is, stop a bit further back, and that's caused all sorts of problems. So we have a fix being underway at the moment to rectify that, so that'll rectify it for all routes. So that's being tested at the minute to see, make sure we don't introduce even more problems before we fix one problem and 3 more prop up. So we're underway trying to fix that. But in the meantime, what we've done for Arosalinie is having worked out the problem is you can work around it by just how the stopping points are authored that affects it. So what we've done is we've just helped Rivet to author those stopping points so that it gets around the issue. But then at some point soon, hopefully, this bigger fix will come in, and then things will be a lot happier. So that's the red light thing that's caused problem in timetables. Isn't a 426 issue. That is just one of the other many changes that went in as part of doing Train Sim World to Rush Hour.
Yeah, and I think it's a reasonable assumption to make that it is like the 4.26 upgrade, because that feels like the biggest change that could have happened. But yeah, sometimes it is the littlest things, isn't it, that just cause these kind of chaos theory style collisions throughout.
Oh, it's just really bonkers. Where we'll be making a timetable, we'll simulate it and we'll play it, and it play tests fine, get it out to customers, and some of them come back and say, yeah, we're getting these random spads. It's like, well, why are you suddenly getting random spads? Where did that come from? And it's just a quirk of it behaving subtly different on a different person's computer. But yeah, the fix that went in, which caused the problem, was to pull them back, so they stopped away from the red light, which means they now won't spad. But then because they stopped away from the red light, they weren't always hitting the stop points, which meant they just get stuck. They just end up in this, well, I've stopped and I don't know what to do now. Hence, stuck on a red light.
I tell you what, if we get that fixed out quickly. I've been doing support tickets this week, and it would be great to not have to log all of those things in our little issues list, issue spreadsheet. That would be wonderful.
Well, the main concern is to make sure that we're not going to give you a bunch of more things to run that list.
That's true.
Once we're happy with that, then yes, it's so far testing is that the beta team are doing is going well, but no, caution first.
Absolutely.
Fingers crossed it stays that way.
We did what looked like an easy fix the last time. Lesson learned. Take more time, test more widely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Red Rev's asked, this isn't a limited DLC pack, is it? I don't believe there are plans to make it limited. Jasper,
no.
any? No.
It's like this Christmas scenario pack that was put out for TS1. It's available all the time.
Yeah. Obviously, it's more relevant in the next two and a bit weeks, but it is playable all throughout, and you can get it whenever.
Yeah, and even if you don't like Christmas, there are still 3 scenarios in there which have nothing to do with Christmas. And if you decide to play the timetable in summer, spring, or autumn, you won't notice any timetable, any Christmas things as well. So, yeah, you can still get it.
James, he asks, since we have Scottish, Swiss, Canadian and French routes, it'd be nice if more routes could be added in these countries, since we know that we've got the licenses for these routes. I mean, we've got licenses for some. It's important to note that straight away. We've got licenses for some rail providers, but we're always looking at new things that we can try and do. Obviously, we like having something that is different. We like having something that's going to push the boundaries and try and go beyond things. I think Arosa is a great example of that. Actually, it's something that we hadn't done on TSW2 before, in a different geography, in a very different scenario, and we would always look to try and do those kinds of things. So keep an eye out for the roadmap. When we add new routes and whatnot into it, you'll see them first there.
It also it sort of calls to one of the things that I talk about when a number of other times that questions come up of when you're going to do different countries, and that I say, it's you want to bring on board people who really understand the railways in those countries well, and can do a really fantastic job with it. And that's one of the really great things about Rivet, who've been working on RhB content, because they've got a proven track record with our great RhB content on TS1. So with that knowledge and expertise in it, they can bring that readily into TSW. So it's kind of like, it's something that I would like to see, bring as we start widening out and getting more third parties on. Really encouraging more countries to come in through people who are have the expertise in those countries. Yeah. That's not to say we're not going to look at it. It's not on any roadmap at the moment, but it's you're always going to get a if you're a local and you have that someone who's this is the railways they've been enthusiast of for years and years and years, then they have an intrinsic knowledge that it's very difficult and time consuming for someone who's not a local to pick up.
Yeah.
Or you just wrote Jamie, or you just wrote Jamie in for something like the Arosalinie.
That's true. Well, we had some kind of Jamie with Alan Thompson on board as already. So
these have always been a big passion for Alan, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's great for the team to have someone they can go and ask a question if they're not sure on something, and just have an answer that is most likely to be right. That's just great when developing a product, like you said.
Yeah, so obviously, having broached that subject, there are lots of suggestions for new routes in the chat, and yes, we will review them. We have a separate suggestions thread in the forum, suggestions place in the forums where people can go to suggest new routes and kind of bounce ideas off of each other within the community. It's a really good kind of indicator if there is a desire for it. We also do things like surveys quite regularly as well. Quite regularly, annual surveys where we ask people what routes they like, and so we kind of get the idea there of what would be preferable for people. And Derek's just put in the chat the link to the suggestions forum. Thank you very much, Derek. Whilst we're in the subject of things that I'm asking the mods, our friendly mods, to put into the chat, we have Rivet are doing a survey, and they would love your feedback on the content that they're putting together for TSW2. And yeah, if you go in and submit the survey, it would be really helpful for them when they're kind of putting together their plans for what they want to work on in the future.
Yeah, that'd be really nice if you have 10 minutes of spare time. Check out the link that the mods will hopefully post in there. It's just a little bit about what we've done in the past and what you would like us to see to do in the future, as well as getting a little bit to know about your system and yourself. So if you got that time, million thanks. That's really cool.
That link didn't quite work, Derek. Try again.
There we go. I've put it in the chat so people should be able to see it.
There you go.
Oh, it's not.
Oh no, let's not take the brakes off just yet. Eh?
I think Lodestar preempted us talking about the survey in the chat before we'd even done it. I mean, that's synergy for you there.
There's a question in chat while we're waiting. How do you extend the mirrors in this locomotive? Matt, would you be able to show that?
If you tell me how to.
Yeah, sure. You have on the left-hand side. You have a button. There are like these two switches on the very bottom, on the left-hand side. Yeah, this one. That's the no. The one where it says
Führenstande Spiel.
That's one. Exactly. Now you have both of them moved out, and if you move it back, yeah, you can see them closing.
It's not a stream with me and Jasper in it if I don't butcher some German at some point.
That was a freight service actually coming down the timetable there, wasn't it? So is that a drivable one from the new timetable? And that service is in the original timetable as well, following this update, isn't it?
No. The 10 new services, which are mostly freight services, won't be in the basic timetable for now. Yeah.
I've just had word from Mike. We can talk about pricing.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Okay, so for those people that have been asking, thank you for asking. We can confirm it's going to be £9.99. That is 11.99 euros, $14.99. So slightly lower than the price of a loco. Good little stocking filler, let's say.
Just because I questioned in the chat, yes, Nigel, you can use it in the sale. Yeah. Well, I'm actually glad someone says there's fair pricing on the pack, just because, yeah, I feel like there's actually quite a lot of content you're getting for the money. Yeah.
I really like how the new
These
liveries
are
look.
long.
They had a really nice
Yeah.
bit of colour to the to what you're seeing as well.
Yeah.
It contrasts nicely with what's quite a white route as well. I suppose obviously when it's snowy, it contrasts quite nicely. I can imagine them getting some really good shots of the liveries from. There we go. I think it contrasts really nicely.
Someone asked if it was open air or glassed in. It's open air.
It is very cold. they're also is that wooden seating as well.
Yeah, that is wooden seating.
I was going to say if it was metallic seating that would not be fun.
Whoa, no, absolutely not. But I don't think wood is that much better.
It's almost as
still
comfortable as a modern high-speed train, isn't it?
close. Yeah, it's close. Absolutely.
Does hypothermia come free, or do you have to pay extra?
Just because the question was in the chat, the flight services are in the new timetable, not exclusive to the scenarios. Actually, there were.
Of course, I'm doing a scenario here, aren't I?
Yeah.
It's like I'm not paying any attention. The there's lots of nice decorations I'm seeing on the stations. That's nice. There's another snowman.
Yeah. 2 of them.
Trying to pay attention. Signalling on this route always messes me up because you've got one signal on the left which applies to both of you, to both tracks, and it just says which track is clear to go.
And it's even worse if the signal is red, because you then have to stop at some signs that are
It's
in
a
the middle
red
of the
and white
station.
checkerboard, isn't it?
Yeah, but it doesn't really look like a signal, so you have to really know that it is a signal, and it acts as a signal. So if you drive past it,
End of game.
End of game, exactly. Yeah. Just something really different on that route with the signaling. You know.
I like differences like that. It just makes it fun and interesting to drive.
Yeah, it's a challenge to get these things right at the first try.
We've got people on the train now, but no one in the back one. Chickens.
What was the temperature when we started? Did we check what the temperature was when we started at?
No, because actually
Okay.
I can. Can I get? No, I can't get the temperature from here. I don't think. No.
Probably
this-
-0 though.
Oh, it's going to be minus something.
Well, it'd be minus
I
something.
would've
Otherwise,
thought.
the snow would be melting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Important. So we're getting towards Langweis. Will we hit the viaduct before or after this stop, Jasper? I can't remember.
Just after.
After.
Yeah. It's like you're leaving the station and then I'm basically right onto the viaduct.
Jasper, did the route get updated so that it switches to uses the rush hour character types?
Not sure on that one.
If you double check on that, someone's asking that, because then that will make sure that they have the winter clothing and
Yeah.
the day clothing properly.
Yeah.
Tintin mentions when we showed the loco skins, it was minus 4.5 degrees Celsius. So
Okay.
it's only going to be colder now because
Brr.
we've gone higher up.
Yeah. probably -10 or something like that. So, well, yeah.
Yeah, I think getting the altitude and the temperature on the pause screen would be quite fun.
Oh yeah.
Particularly when you've got a route like this where you change altitude quite substantially.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've got a few kind of freight routes which are quite undulating as well, so that'd be quite good to see, I think.
Yeah.
Nigel's asked what the price will be in euros. I mentioned it earlier. I'm just going to double check so I've got it right. It is 11.99 euros.
Someone in the chat is saying I'll use pedestrian mode and sit in the observation car and festively freeze myself up the mountain.
Go for it.
But
I can think of worse ways to go. Nigel's asked if the viaduct will be illuminated this time. Sadly, we checked this before the stream, and on this build it is not, but on the launch build the plan is for it to be, and we've tried it, or Jasper tried it in another build just before we went live, and he confirmed it is working in there.
Yeah.
Super annoying.
Yeah, but because this is a good question, if you want to see the viaduct lit up, if you're in timetable mode, you have to set the snow to on and be in the dark, like at 10 p.m. or something like that, so you can actually see the light. Yeah, and if you're, but it is set up for this scenario specifically to be on. So if you're driving the scenario on the final build, and even though it's close to 12, you'll see the lights, the viaduct. Actually very iconic that you can see the viaduct multiple times while going uphill. So we'll have a few looks at it from now. And we'll show the viaduct next time in...
Paul, do I spot another Christmas tree?
Yeah.
I spot another Christmas tree, there we go. This is what I used to do on, we used to have a little tradition on Christmas Eve where we used to go out on a drive and we used to count Christmas trees on our side of the car. And it used to be me and my dad versus my mum and my sister. We had to see who could count the most Christmas trees on our side of the car on Christmas Eve.
Did you won?
Generally not, because I had the disadvantage of the fact that my dad was driving, so it was only
Okay.
one pair of eyes versus two.
Okay. Lovely thing to do for Christmas Eve.
How did your mum and your sister make sure they didn't double up?
Again, this is part of the problem. I think that this is what happened. This is why they beat me.
Poor James. That's unfair.
Lodestar's asked, will it use the same kind of lighting used as the Dresden scenario? I don't believe so.
Nope.
That was very much a bespoke work done for Dresden, or Riese Dresden. I think we've talked about this in the streams when we were previewing Riese Dresden, in that it was something that I think a lot of love and attention went into. We wanted to see how feasible that was to do on a per route basis. Matt, I don't know if you've got anything you wanted to add to that.
No, I mean, I haven't spoken to the team yet to sort of establish. I know that they learned a lot from what Ed and Lucas did with the lighting on Dresden, and I don't have any updates on how that's reflecting at the moment.
Just while we're at it, there's like the red and white sign on the right, which acts as a signal. Just driving past it. There's a good question in the chat. Why is there a steering wheel? Well, you need to drive around the corners at some point. You need a steering wheel.
So the real reason for being a steering wheel is because there's a lot of notches on this, and it would be much harder to drive it if you imagine the. Here I am using my hands. So if you imagine you have a linear lever, how hard you'd be if there were, say, 30 steps on that. How close they'd all be together, versus with 360 degrees. They're actually a lot more manageable with the steering wheel. It's an interesting design choice, but it actually makes a lot of sense for these older electric trains and the way they worked.
Yeah.
You can see where the lights will be.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope that's a heated steering wheel.
I'm sure it is not.
No.
Don't think so. No. Actually, that was quite common on older trains. I can remember quite a lot German locomotives which used this wheel as a throttle as well.
It's because they're generally, if you look at something like the R155, it's got 30 notches, and a lot that's not uncommon with a lot of electric trains, and it's just significantly more manageable if you've got a massive space that you get with a wheel versus a lever. Of course, as you get to more modern electrics, where you just literally have a 0 to 100% throttle control, then it becomes easier to use a linear control, a conventional throttle.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm glad I've got the dad joke of the day award.
Somebody's will be jealous.
Oh.
I see another snowman.
Oh, I've missed that one. No, there it is.
It's right there. Looks very pretty in the winter.
This really has to be enjoyed in winter. I don't know. Can't help myself with that one. I just think it's when I think of Switzerland and the RhB, I think of a snowy paradise. These red trains going through it. It's meant for winter.
Well, you think Alpine, you think snow, don't you? And
Yeah, absolutely. At least for the RhB routes, it has to be winter.
guys, if you've got any questions about the livery pack or anything else related to Arosa, give us a shout in the chat. We've got a little bit of time left in scenario, and then we're going to call it a night after that. So yeah, chuck them in the chat now. We'll see what we can answer. Can we see? Oh well, somebody's asked about somebody's asked about something that we're going to show next week, which we'll say it's a festive treat for you.
When I think Alpine, I think Toblerone. Yeah, okay.
When I think Toblerone, I think duty free.
That might be even better. True. Yeah. Like the first thing you see at airports.
Just the massive Toblerones that are like 3 kilos of chocolate.
Yeah. True.
Daleks asked, was there a price announced for this? Yep, £9.99, €11.99, $14.99. We got the go ahead from Mike. Derek's asked, the lights on the viaducts also in timetable mode.
Yes, they will be there. If you set the snow to be on, and if you're there at the dark time of the day, like 10 PM in the evening or something like that. Just because that question is there, will the livery patch enhance anything else on the locos? Like working temperature controls in the cab version? No, we won't have working temperature controls. but there are some improvements to the locomotive on the physics and the on the wiper sounds. They've been reworked, so you won't see the lurching, leaping back when leaving a station. That one is gone. So yeah, there are some updates to the locomotive, and you'll get them even if you don't buy the updated pack. So they will come to the basic Arosa timetable as well. Thanks for the compliment in the chat. That's really nice.
See, I took 2 snowmen, one either side.
Yeah, it looks like we haven't added the rush hour passengers just from looking at the 2 dudes standing at the right.
Sebastian has asked which country is it set in. This is Switzerland.
It's the Reichsbahn. Oops, hello. I've opened all the doors.
Liam's asked something that I'm going to deflect straight onto one of you two. Where do the speed limits trigger on this route?
I think they're in the normal place on this, aren't they? I think it's only Bakerloo line that's got the front trigger stuff. So this is lowest speed limit anywhere on the loco is the speed limit. So decreasing speeds will generally trigger at the front. Increasing speeds generally trigger at the back.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is fairly standard railway practice.
Didn't knew it was different on the Bakerloo line.
Sorry?
Is it actually different on the Bakerloo line?
Bakerloo line is always at the front.
Oh, okay.
Just a factoid for anybody that wasn't aware of that.
It was not something that was in the game at launch, but it was something that we added in a post update because it was a bit more work than anyone would expect to make it change how the speed limits are applied. But yes, the Bakerloo line is always at the front of the train, so you can increase your speed as soon as you go past the speed limit zone.
Yeah.
I was so confused for so long when I was on all of the other routes, and I was like, but it's told me that I can go this speed. Why can I not? Why is it criticising me for going over the speed limit? And then someone told me it was obviously the back of the train rather than the front of the train.
There's like a lot of stuff to learn if you're new to trains and then thrown into like a real world simulator like this one. There are quite a lot of things you have to consider and keep in mind, and especially if it comes down to country specific safety system like PZB, for example, or that kind of stuff. That's just wow. Yeah, a lot to learn.
A whole new world.
Amazing is the word you're looking for.
I feel like mine and Matt's opinions differ greatly on this.
It's all right, JD. You're allowed to be wrong.
Tripags asked what we've got in the livery pack. We'll go over that just before we finish at the end. So we'll just reiterate what is part of the pack before we finish. Will you show us what's expected on training mode when you arrive at Arosa?
I don't think there's any new training on this, is there? Because there's no different locos. So it'll be the
there's
same.
actually training. No. There is a new training, but it's basically the old one just set in Arosa rather than being in.
Right. Okay.
It's nothing major new. You're driving a loco with one of the new liveries applied to it. So if you want to refresh how that locomotive is working, that's probably for you. But if you still know how to drive this locomotive, then you don't have to do it.
There is an Arosa route introduction, Isaac. something that's worth mentioning. Obviously, this isn't the most recent route that Rivet put together. West Cornwall Local was the most recent route that Rivet have done. Have we got anything in the pipeline for West Cornwall Local, or are we happy with how that currently plays, how that currently looks?
Nothing that we will put out in not in the near future is not true. We haven't anything to announce tonight, but we are definitely looking at some of the doors, the door bug on the Class 150, and we still have some feedback on the sound that we're looking at. Yeah, these are the main two things.
Sound was quite divisive.
Yeah.
Some people liked it, some people didn't like it.
Yeah.
And it's a difficult one to get right because it is, to a certain extent, subjective. But it's good to hear that you guys are looking at it and seeing if there's any other tweaks that need to be made.
Yeah. Looking into to see if we can do anything to make it better. Yeah.
Phil's asked an interesting question, probably one for Matt. What would it take for German routes to get locos and liveries other than DB Red? Is it a licensing or advertising issue?
Well, we've got black ones. We've got the MRCE.
And we've got the blue as well, haven't we?
We have the blue 363, which is DB blue. In TS1 we have Presnetstorbahn, which is also blue. We've not used that license in TSW yet, but that one's very regional. They're in a specific area. It's just a licensing thing, you know. As there are more, you know, as we broaden the licenses, so we can bring in more variety in that front. It's something I definitely want to do. You know, try and bring in some more variety. Just because red trains are great, but can we not have more red trains?
Of course, we've got the G6 as well. Of course, I mean, I know it's not,
yep.
Which came out a couple of weeks ago. So.
It's in the green and grey, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Lodestar. We have picked up some other licenses that we needed for the like of the Justin Risa, for example, that actually ended up having DB, VVO, and VMDL. I can't remember the. So we ended up with multiple licenses on that route. You can see all the brands on the side, and it's like a branding T-shirt from fishing on the side of some of these German trains now. But they're still ultimately red trains.
And just on the licensing side of things, Matt, whilst we're on the subject, obviously Train Simulator announced yesterday that they have the full BNSF license now, so that they can do BNSF locos and BNSF branding outside of the USA. Obviously within TSW2 that's not a thing yet. Is it something that we look into, given that we've now got that license, that global license?
That license does apply to TSW, so it opens the door to considering options for BNSF. We don't have any in the pipeline, you know, so this doesn't mean things are about to suddenly appear. What it means is we can start considering them where we weren't considering them previously. So it's a really, really good thing, but it's a good thing for at some point in the future.
Yes. Someone's asked when's Mariah's Pass coming to TSW2. We won't be drawn on those rumours. Don't worry.
How awesome would that be, though?
Transport 7's asked, will the eroded timetable fix wipe any completed services done on the route so far?
I actually don't know that. That's something I have to ask. We'll go back to the forums with a reply on the two questions we had.
No, we don't have GBRF license, Taze. So I don't know what the state is on some of the other ones, but no, it's usually GBRF have a lot of the fun 66s, really awesome liveries they've got there.
Someone's asked, is the gradient marker around the wrong way on the HUD?
Well, we're going up, so no.
Yeah, I don't think so, no.
That one has been fixed, I believe. That was something
Yeah,
that
it
we
was
had.
fixed a while ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we'll do Triple J when we finish. When we finish up at Arosalinie, we'll do a quick run through of the 5 scenarios, the new timetable in the menu, just to finish up with, because then we can show you the Langweis viaduct as well with the lights on. So we'll do that.
My life is Isaac. You want a London Underground route? Well, the good news is you're in luck. Bakerloo line is a core route that comes with Transit Mod 2. There are no plans for any further underground light routes at this point, but Bakerloo line is there for your enjoyment.
From what I can gather, Bakerloo has caused an awful lot of blood, sweat, and tears over the time that it's been here. So maybe there's another time to approach that challenge. I actually went on the Bakerloo line for the first time in a very, very long time a couple of weeks ago, and I was surprised at how different it is to all of the other routes that all of the other lines that I've been on. Very, I use the word retro.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Isaac's asked, Bakerloo might be shutting down, says Sadiq Khan. Does that mean it would be no longer in TSW2? I wouldn't imagine that. We've got we've got older routes in the game, or routes that are set in previous eras. If that were ever to happen, then I imagine it would just be a moment in time.
Actually, that's exactly what happened to the Isle of Wight, for example. Like the trains, which aren't there in the TSW product, aren't there anymore in the real world.
Yeah, and obviously you guys looked at 1990s for the West Cornwall local as well.
True.
I'm
true.
not sure there are any kind of fundamental changes there, but obviously things were different. Things are different were different in the early 90s than they were now. So.
Yeah, there are actually quite a lot of changes regarding to the track layout, which have been changed. So there are double tracks now where there was where there used to be only one track in the 90s. There's like
well, exactly, yeah. So yeah, I don't think it would be anything that we would change. It would just be that it's a frozen moment in time than anything else.
Yep.
Yeah.
Our routes are all a static moment in time. GWE, for example, is September 2015. There or thereabouts.
I actually like that. I think it's nice to be able to travel in time if you want to have it that way, with like a train simulator add-on, a train sim world.
Amy's asked an interesting question. I think somebody else actually asked this earlier and I've forgotten about it. Any
Me too.
plans to fix traction power not coming back on after using the dynamic brakes on the GE442?
That should be fixed with this update. I believe that's some of the physics update that was implemented.
Wonderful. I wasn't expecting that to be a yes, so that's good.
Ah. I think I stopped. I didn't have to.
It's like these little signals on the bottom which tell you to go, and the big main one is red. That can be confusing.
This is an eerie place to stop, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Stop! It's not stopping!
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
And this was how we spatted. Oh god, reversing back up, that's going to be fun.
Okay. I was holding my breath for a second. Brakes like a cruise ship. Yeah. I mean, it's unfair going downhill. There's a small red signal on that. You seen that?
Yeah, I've already tapped it.
Okay. It still looks like a red window. Okay, no.
Nailed it. Yeah, so Amy's also asked for those changes to say the physics. They are available if you own a Rosa without having to purchase the additional add-on as well. So there will be an update that comes before the pack goes live. That will feature the Arosa fixes, so the actual route fixes, and then obviously the pack will come out slightly later.
So all the fixes that we've done to the locomotive, to the gangways of the coaches, the sound of the coaches, and the timetable update, of course, will be free for people who already own the Arosalinie.
What's I want you to do? Back up now?
Yeah. I think it's wanting you to put it back into the depot.
At least you've not got to try and brake on that tunnel again.
You know, I'm tempted to drive from the other cab with the window open just so I can hear the music.
Do it.
It's a bit like now, but what if I put this 3 cab up?
That could be a treat for next week.
Here we go.
It's a shame that we can't hear it.
You say shame, I say blessing.
I would love to be dancing right now. Do like a 5-second beat.
God, all my music back.
LaserJet said about the timetable stop times have been changed because it made you late very quickly. Yes, well, I believe that's part of the update that Jasper was talking about.
This also isn't timetable, this is scenario.
Sorry, yes. Yeah.
But yeah, the answer to that question is still yes.
Yeah.
That was one of the main issues that it had, but that's not fixed.
I'm just imagining this being back in the depot and the music still playing, and just be nobody around, just this observation car just playing Christmas music in an abandoned depot.
It's the start of any horror game design.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds a bit like Daisy or something like that. Strange setting.
Yeah, I can hear it. I can hear the music. Yeah, that's awesome. It's just the right experience.
We have set it up so that you can actually hear it through doors. So if you close that door, you shouldn't be able to hear it as loud as before.
Mm-hmm.
For those people who haven't had enough of me after a Tuesday stream and a Thursday stream this week, I'm also on tomorrow night's stream, which is the 4-Up Challenge. If anybody would like to take part in that, well, not take part, you can do it. Actually, you can do it live with us. Actually, that's a good point. It'll be me, Sam, Nat, and I think Adam taking part in the 4-Up Challenge tomorrow, doing the 3-1-3 with no keyboard. It's mouse only. So you can imagine how fun I found that experience and enjoyed every second of it.
You probably still found a way to get the bubble stuck on.
You know what? Do you know what? I made a point of ringing the bell a few times just for old time's sake. But I'll let everybody enjoy that one tomorrow.
That sounds like a fun challenge, to be honest.
The 4-ups are good fun.
It's quite a short one actually, but believe me, I made it as long as I humanly could do. And for those on the 4-up challenge bingo, I don't know anything about any of the other the people, anyone else taking part, but I really hope that you've got your bingo cards ready. It was definitely Nat cussing quite a few times, she told me, so.
Good idea to run a train on a track without any overhead wiring. Something I will write down.
Oh, look at that. Solid driving there. Overspeeding was not my fault at all. Right, we wanted a quick look at the scenarios again, didn't you?
Yes, let's do that before we head off for the night. Still need to have my dinner.
'Tis the season completed.
There we go. There's the Langweis viaduct, by the
That's
way,
with
in
the lights.
all of its
Christmas lights.
lit up glory.
Yeah.
You won't be able to
Christmas
see that one
delivery,
next week.
Christmas wagons. You'll see them next week.
Delivering
Waterlogged.
presents to all the boys and girls.
Open air travel. Alpine photo shoot. Those are the 5 scenarios.
Yeah.
Lovely. Okay. So just to wrap up then for tonight, this is the RhB anniversary livery pack on the Arosalinie. So this contains 5 new scenarios, one for each of the liveries that we've just shown you, and a selection, I think it's 10 additional timetable services, Jasper, on top of the actual Arosa timetable. There will be a core update coming with this to the Arosa line, free for everybody. That will improve the timetabling, some of the physics on the GE44, and a couple of other bits and pieces. I think the wiper sounds and some other Christmassy fun on some of the routes. Have I missed anything out? I don't think so. Fill out Rivet survey. That would be lovely.
That'd be great.
Give them some feedback on what they're doing well, what they're doing, what they can help develop in the future. We'll hopefully get the link in the chat when our lovely mods put it in there. The pricing is £9.99. It is €11.99 and or $14.99, and it's available next Thursday, just in time for Christmas. So that is, I think, everything for tonight. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed the little trip up the Alps to Arosa. We'll be showing you next week the Christmas delivery scenario, hopefully with the Langweis viaduct on the shipping build, so it should have everything and all the bells and whistles attached to it. But that leaves me nothing more to say. Thank you very much to Matt for driving tonight and offering some insight into all of the different development side of things. Thanks very much, Matt.
No problem, thank you.
And thanks very much, as ever, to Jasper for joining us. You'll be on the stream next week as well, won't you?
Yeah, exactly. Thanks a lot for having me and having this nice experience driving through this route. Yeah.
Brilliant. And we have next week, it will be Jamie in my place doing the launch stream for the pack, so you can expect many, I'm sure, anecdotes from him on his time on the Arosalinie. So thanks very much, everybody. Come and join us tomorrow for the 4-Up challenge. Other than that, have a wonderful evening.
Bye, everyone.
All right. Good night, everyone. Bye.